Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Wednesday co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
That's right. We're here for another BumbleKast. They keep happening. All throughout the week is just constant onslaught of BumbleKasts, man. It's just kind of how we roll these days. We just have so many questions. We can't stop.
Dread it. Run from it. It arrives all the same.
Exactly.
We've got another priority Q&A episode today with our questions coming from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Indeed. We left off in the J's last time, so we're going to pick up with Jolene B. If you'd been able to make the Archie reboot a fresh start like you wanted, without the regained and then lost again memories, how would you have introduced the new continuity? Would you have just launched into it in media res and trusted the reader to quote-unquote get it? Or would there be some way of easing the reader into those things?
At the time, I think the general structure would have remained the same. We just wouldn't have had the memory brouhaha.
Mm-hmm.
Because this would have been in the context of the reboot, which nobody wanted, and it would have been a big deal. So we were introducing this new form of Mobius, the new form of the Freedom Fighters, the new status quo, and I feel like it would have been good to do it as we did, introducing each Freedom Fighter bit by bit so that they're properly reintroduced to the new readers who are jumping on because they heard of the reboot, and the old readers to reassure them, here they are. They haven't gone anywhere. We've spent some time to spruce them up. This is who they are now. I hope you like them. Putting it in the context of Sonic Unleashed, I don't know if I'd want to do again. Number one, for the headaches that it caused and approvals, and two, just because of where it kind of anchored some things, but then we wouldn't have had the Mighty versus Werehog issue.
Yeah, and how could you get rid of that? No, we gotta have that.
I don't know. The greater structure, I don't know. It's hard to say because there was a lot of stuff going on at the time, and it made sense at the time, and I don't know what we necessarily would have done that would have been different. But the core, the beginning, reintroducing the cast and reestablishing what the world was, I think that would stay the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of liked how you introduced it, even with the pointless memory retaining stuff. You just cut that out and it still works. Here's a question from Hero of Light 13. When it comes to giving your character a rogues gallery, be it Sonic-based or anything else, what are good concept and design ideas or disciplines to keep in mind? I've certainly got a few ideas based on my favorite character's classic villains, but I understand that just doing fun parodies isn't enough. Do they have to have a thematic tie to the protagonist? Can some of them just be goons? How many conflicts should feel personal? And even when it comes to parodies, how subtle does it have to be? Or is there a healthy degree of overtness that's acceptable?
Oh, wow. All right, settle in. We're going to unpack this bag. Let's work backwards. When it comes to parody or homage to mainstream supervillain stuff, I would say it depends on the project you're working on, because if it's supposed to be kind of a pastiche of superhero stuff, if it's kind of overt or broad, that's a little more forgivable because that's what you understand the project to be.
Right.
If you're creating your own universe, if you are legitimately telling your own superhero universe, I would stay away from it. Like, look at what you enjoy in others and how you can explore that yourself, but don't rehash the same thing exactly, because then it's not standing on its own, it's standing as a parody. And if it's a parody within the context of a serious work, then it kind of loses its integrity. Unless it's meant to be a joke character, in which case, smile, nod, wink, sure, but you don't want to have something that your main character is hinging on be a punchline. To me, that's just narrative dissonance. In terms of how to explore and construct them, I think there's two very different ways of looking at it. And for this example, I'm going to look at two of the most prominent and well-known and arguably the best rogues galleries. You got Batman's and you got Spider-Man's.
Yeah.
Batman, a lot of his rogues gallery is an exploration of facets of Batman. Our hero is this grim, dark, frightening creature. And one of his principal antagonists is supposed to be, in general, this happy, bright, fun, welcoming type of character. Except the Joker is none of those things. You take the clown aspect, all the things that are positive and the antithesis of bats, but you make it evil.
Yeah.
You have Scarecrow. Batman has this entire fear motif of trying to inspire fear to promote correctional activities. Scarecrow is the other end of the fear, the victimization, the base level reaction to fear, the loss of humanity. Batman is a vigilante. He's not doing this by the books. His actions are very illegal, and he is still someone who champions justice. Antithesis is Catwoman, a very female end of the spectrum to his very masculine role, who is also gallivanting across rooftops, but entirely for selfish personal gain. And this is a wide swath. I'm not counting every single Selena story in existence. Don't at me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got some very surface level stuff. Batman. Man-Bat.
Man-Bat.
There you go. and you can go from there. What are the other aspects of Batman? He has that duality going on. He is Batman. He is also Bruce Wayne. Two very different sides of the coin. The very affable, outgoing playboy billionaire. The very grim and threatening vigilante. Harvey Dent is those two sides, but exposed at once. You look at the various pieces of your hero and you can deconstruct them and explore them in different avenues. What if it was interpreted this way? What if it had gone wrong this way? Or what if they do it better in a particular way? How do they stand out more? And you can get a lot of mileage out of that. Or you can have something that's very Spider-Man-esque, where most of these villains are standalone. Sure, Eddie Brock and Green Goblin have kind of a direct tie to him, but they're all very larger than life characters. Green Goblin could exist outside the context of Spider-Man. He has the look, he has the persona, he has the gimmick. If you could roll him as a hero, it could still work. Dr. Octopus, same thing. People have built connections between Otto and Peter, and that's great. But Otto's motivations, his role, his look, his gimmick, his whole thing is very independent. These are larger than life characters that are just big, bombastic factors. And Spider-Man himself is this big, bombastic character. So it's the razzle-dazzle of these two figures clashing throughout New York. And you see a little bit of that in Batman, like Killer Croc. I don't see any parallels to Batman. He's a big alligator man.
Right, yeah.
To varying degrees of alligator, depending on how metahuman you want to make him. But yeah, he's just a big, angry brute guy. Whereas, arguably, at least for a time, Venom was the antithesis of Spider-Man. All the power, no responsibility, no restraint, just a lethal protector. So what I'm getting down to here is, depending on the type of story you want to tell and what type of hero or heroes that you're focusing on, your rogues gallery should either be characters who can share the limelight, who can occupy the stage to an equal degree, or are investigations of aspects of that character so that they act as foils. And you can mix and match to a degree. Like if everything is a exploration of your character, that might be a little too cerebral for what you're going for. But it's no one size fits all. But I would say maybe focus on one direction over the other so that you aren't spreading yourself too thin. It's easier to focus on a particular theme than it is to put in all the ideas at once.
Right. Yeah. I mean, heck, I don't have anything else to add to that. That's some good advice, I think. Here's a question from Happy Times. How differently would things have played out for Starline if he had just caved to Eggman's order and let everyone use the warp topaz in issue 25? Would seeing the plan work and having a cooler head help him get over Eggman's flaws, salvaging their relationship? Or would it still only be a matter of time before he tries to do Operation Remaster, perhaps still working for Eggman while secretly preparing his usurpation?
A little hard to say, but I imagine that Starline himself one of his central flaws is the ego. He thinks that he is the only one good enough to work at Eggman's side. He thinks he's the only one who understands Eggman's process, and that graduated to he thinks he's better than the system. He thinks he's figured it out. That's his hubris. So had he shown a smidgen of humility at the end of Metal Virus, I think he would have been cowed into rolling along with Eggman's plans for a bit afterwards. But I think inevitably he would break away because just Eggman won't listen to him, and he's right. He knows he's right. He can prove he's right. Look at this 20-page dissertation he's written on how right he is. Why won't you read it? Why won't you listen? He's right.
How dare he? Being right all the time. Except he wasn't. Now he's right underground. Finest Cacophony has a question. Something I've noticed when reading some exchanges between Eggman and Starline is Eggman seems to use Starline's title of Doctor when referring to him. Now, this could just be a formality. However, coming from Eggman, it almost sounds patronizing in some aspects. Ian, would you like to shed some light on this? Am I reading too deep or not deep enough?
That's a fun interpretation. I'm not going to say you're wrong. It wasn't my intention, but you can certainly read it that way. Another way you can read it is that he calls him Doctor because he didn't bother to remember his name.
Either one works, actually. I kind of like both.
Yeah, this fellow who's working with me all the time, the doctor. Yes, doctor. How are you, doctor? How's it going, buddy?
I kind of like both. You could do a combination of both.
When I was writing it, it was more part of the cadence, trying to imagine how Mike Pollock would read it.
Yeah.
And having him refer to someone as their title just seems to be more befitting of Eggman. He doesn't use people's names a lot. He uses more honorifics and alternate forms of address.
Except for Sonic.
Whether it's
Sonic, mostly.
Yeah, usually. But he'll also call them Rodent and bothersome Blue Rat and Fox Boy.
Yeah.
He likes to substitute names a lot, so.
Yeah, it's, I kind of like it being maybe a combination of both. Doesn't remember his name, but is also being kind of patronizing and, oh, doctor.
Yeah. He thinks he's a real doctor. Yeah, I mean, you can read it that way, absolutely.
Yeah. Here's a question from Exadel. So I gotta know, can Vector still breathe fire? We see him do it in Heroes as a power boost to his attack string, and we even see him do it in Sonic X. Have you ever asked SEGA about this?
I have not, because we really haven't had an opportunity to explore it, and I don't know if I want it to be part of his regular power set. It's weird. I mean, granted, he does kind of look like Trogdor.
I suppose.
I mean, all he has to do is angle that one arm, and it does look up like a beefy bicep coming out of the back of his neck.
I figured it would be more like a Godzilla homage, but
maybe
a little bit of that. It's a little bit of column A, column B.
Chubby, get up there and be my little winglings. I got a mouthful of consummate V's. Vector, I don't think that's the best look to go when we're exploring this arson case.
I need it. I need it. And we got a question here from Dreamboatin. Does Angel Island move around in the sky, or does it sit in one place? If it moves, could it possibly collide with Lost Hex, Little Planet, or any of the other flying land masses that litter the skies of Mobius? Do those move too? It's Earth, but okay, whatever.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I don't know. I always assumed Angel Island moved around.
I thought so too.
I mean, that could have been just a holdover from the Archie books, though.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, if you want to try to make sense of past game canon, har. I mean, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the island falls into the middle of the ocean, and Sonic Adventure, it falls back into its place off the coast of Mystic Ruins. So,
yeah, move. It must move then.
Yeah, I guess Lost Hex. I mean,
how far away are Lost Hex and Little Planet versus the floating island or Angel Island?
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing. It's like, does Lost Hex have a gravitational hold on the planet?
And how big is it when you get down to it? We don't have a perfect frame of reference.
Yeah.
I mean, Earth is a big place. and a small enough landmass would be kind of hard to see in the sky. There is a lot of real estate up there. So it stands to reason that maybe they miss each other. And Little Planet only comes down for, what is it, a month a year?
Something like that.
I think that's kind of in flux too. But I mean, when it leaves, it's gone. Like, it's orbital gone. I don't think it's even within the atmosphere. It's just gone. So I don't think that's a problem. Then again, it's still a fairly large planetoid floating over the surface when it is over an Everlake. So hopefully Angel Island has the altitude to clear above it.
Maybe.
Wait. Now, this could have been a Phantom Ruby bit of shenanigans, but in Mania, you see the whole out of Lava Reef and you see Little Planet above. So does that mean Little Planet flies higher than Angel Island?
Maybe. Honestly,
or is it all Phantom Ruby nonsense?
Maybe. Honestly, having it above would make more sense, considering Angel Island is not a planet, so it doesn't have its own everything like a Little Planet would. Yeah,
but then how long is that freaking chain, man?
It's long.
But it's Eggman, so he could craft that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, look at the space elevator for freaking his theme park in Sonic Colors.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be too much of a problem. Does Angel Island have a steering wheel? I don't know. Can he fly it? That would be pretty funny. All right, we got a question here from Dove. I know it's obvious that Tangle either wants or has a moped, possibly a fleet of them. But what would Whisper want to drive? Is she also a Vespa? Or would it be Whispa Girl? Maybe a motorcycle? Does she shock everyone and drive a 1992 Fjord Tortoise? Should I stop making bad car puns?
No, because Fjord Tortoise is hilarious.
That is very funny. And also accurate, having owned a Ford Taurus. Yeah, it's pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'm not really much of a gearhead. Kyle, you're probably better suited for this one.
She strikes me as a motorcycle girl.
Yeah, but not like what are the smaller, sleeker,
like a sports bike or a street bike, not a hog.
Nah, she's not a Harley girl.
No, she's got like a cool.
It's too laid back.
Yeah,
it's too loud. She needs to be leaning into the wind.
That's right. She's got like a, I don't know, Kawasaki Ninja style, or maybe like a something like that, like a racing MotoGP style bike. Yeah, that seems more like her.
Out to take the corners even faster.
That's right. Meanwhile, who's driving around the Fjord Tortoise? Around that jalopy.
Hey, Maureen is really impressed with herself that she was able to restore it after she hauled it out of the bottom of the ocean.
That's right. There we go.
It may not be fast, it may not look good, and it might stink a little bit, but damn it, she got it running.
But it's hers. That's right. Yes. That's all that matters. Yep.
The smell goes away once they finally kick sticks out of the trunk.
Oh, no. Now where's she going to live? All right, here's a question from Damien the Hedge. Is it me, or is there something darker going on with Tails? He has completely blocked the West Side incident by generations and only vaguely remembers the chemicals. Is his regression actually tied to him forgetting his past adventures?
I think that's just...
It's weird. It is kind of weird.
Oh, the things I want to say, but they will be taken out of context and spun, and must be delicate, must be mindful. There's more attention that could have been paid to the continuity in Generations. Let's just say that.
What continuity?
More than what was present.
Continuity in my Sonic? I'm very suspicious about that. It's very sus. I don't know about that, man. Just don't know. What I do know is we have one last question before we take a break, and it's from Cosmic Cookie Hunter 77. We have seen that Sonic's world has ninjas, but will we see samurai, shaman, is it shaman or shaman?
I've heard both.
Yeah, I've heard both too. But will we see samurai, Shaman, Mafia, and other types of heroes and villains, plus groups in the IDW comics?
I mean, maybe. I mean, Clutch is kind of Mafia Don-esque.
Yeah.
I mean, he's setting up shop. He hasn't really gone full. You come to me asking for chili dogs on the day of my daughter's wedding. He hasn't quite gotten to that level yet, but he's working towards it. He's building up there.
Yeah. I would like to see some of those. I mean, who knows? It's Sonic. He thrives on tropes and stuff. I think he could
have to
do
be
that.
A little mindful of some of them and
the
cultural context. Like, I don't think we could do just a straight up shaman like has been done in the past. That might be seen as a trifle insensitive.
Yeah. There's certain ones that are like, maybe not. And maybe
it's just me, but I feel like I have an easier time imagining Espio as a ninja than as somebody as a full-on samurai, you know? Like, I can see someone being a rogue or a knave, but not a full-blown knight. Maybe it's the armor, maybe it's the connotations that come with the position, but I feel like that's harder to integrate than just, your lone dagger user.
We don't really have any sort of, like, monarchy or anything that's been shown in IDW at all.
No, I mean,
so
Elise is part of a... Is Liliana Ducci, or I have to look it up again.
Yeah.
And they have royal guards, but they aren't like knights.
Right.
I don't know.
Then again, there's like, maybe you could do like a Ronin style character, something like that.
Yeah, but to have Ronin, you need samurai to be a Ronin of.
Right.
From,
I guess. Just have Usagi. Just do the Usagi crossover with Sonic, finally. That's what the TMNT crossover would be, to bring in Usagi with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready. Although that would be another licensing thing, because that's another separate character. But it is, you could do it.
You thought Cream was dangerous before. The way of the blade.
Oh, I'm ready. Speaking of being ready, I'm ready to take a break. Let's get out of here for a little bit, and then we'll be back with more BumbleKast.
And we're back with more Priority Q&A here on the BumbleKast.
Let's jump right on back in with this one from Chaos Sonic 1. Hey, are you willing to look at our fan art / commissions if we pay you to look at it? If so, how much? If not, then oh well.
No. Money makes things more complicated. And oh god, that would probably open me up to even more issues. Nope. Cannot look at that stuff. Because I got an email.
You don't do consulting?
Along these lines. Well, consulting's different. That's not fan content. Well, you could ask for me to consult on fan content, and I would have to turn you down. Original stuff is fine.
Okay.
But I got an email the other day that started off with, I know you can't take fan ideas, but here's this one anyway. You can change it if you want. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Don't do that. Please.
I know you can't take fan ideas, so here's this fan idea. I like
me carte blanche to change it as I see fit is not the get out of jail free card that you think it is. I cannot. Do not do that. Do not put me in that awkward position, please and thank you.
Yes, and also saying that there's licensing accompanying it does not help either. Probably. It's just don't do it. Ian, just make Sonic go fast. That's my only idea as a fan that I have.
Well, great. Now I can't do that anymore. Thanks, Kyle.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad I have that much power, apparently. Here's a question from Bowser Studios. Hey, Ian, just wanted to ask a question in regards to Sonic 1 8-bits canonicity. Does the game's events coincide with the 16-bit version? Is it even canon to begin with? Somebody else told me that you've already answered this question, but I couldn't for the life of me find it in the Q&A master list. Yeah, sorry, that happens sometimes.
And thank you for looking, at the very least.
Yes.
Again, I can't get into hard facts about timeline stuff right now, but from my understanding, Sonic 1 8-bit is canon, but it's its own adventure.
Alrighty. And here's one from Batman69 LOL. How would one go about hiring a writer for a game, and what would you need to prepare before hiring a writer? Like, do I need the lore and the basic skeleton of the plot already figured out?
Take this with a grain of salt, because my work in the video game industry is minuscule, and not in the role of a producer. I am the freelance writer. I do not have any producer cred. So guessing here, you need to know what your game is going to be about, what kind of tone you want for the writing, and just how large of a scope that writing will be. If you're doing something that's very action heavy or a very simplistic style of platformer or what have you, where narrative isn't a big deal, you probably don't need to have much of a writer on board. If you're going to be doing something that is very writing intensive, like an RPG or something that's very character driven or lots of dialogue, then yeah, you want at least one writer, maybe more. Depends on your budget, depends on the scope, depends on who you get. Also depends on how clear the vision you have for the game is. You may have the basic idea, dude is bad enough to save the president. That's it. And then you hand it off to somebody and say, make this into a story. And they expand from there. Something that you will have to be prepared for, both you and whoever you bring on, is that it's going to be an adaptive process. You can have everything figured out beforehand. You can have everything written down. It will look perfect, but games change during development. Sometimes mechanics don't work. Sometimes you have to scale back on your vision. Sometimes stuff happens. And so the story itself will also have to change with that. And sometimes that's going to be a major revision. And figuring out how to properly schedule the talent so that they aren't wasting their time or your money producing a lot of copy that's never going to see the light of day is tricky, if nigh upon impossible.
Yeah.
I am not a producer. I've just been on the receiving end of this, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but here's the invoice. This is what you asked me to do. As for hiring one, I don't know. Most of my contracts have come through other folks hearing me from word of mouth, and I have been invited in. I haven't actually pursued it and gotten in anywhere. So I don't have really good advice on how to find people like me, because I've kind of stumbled into the roles that I have, and I'm thankful for them. Absolutely. And I'm hoping that with that ever-growing resume, it will be easier for me to get other people's attention and other people to come looking for me. But if there is someone that you do know that you enjoy how they write, or you have found their resume through some job-seeking website, or you've seen their portfolio somewhere, I don't know, just reach out to them and say, hi there, we're planning this project with this kind of scope. What are your rates? And see if that works out for you. See what their schedule is.
Yeah.
That's super vague, broad advice, but that's the best I got for you.
Yeah, I don't have much experience with it myself, so aside from hiring you one time. Need to do something with that eventually. We got a question here from Off. Mina Mongoose, singer, songwriter, speedster. It was eventually explained that she got her powers via Mogul somehow. That makes me curious. If there was a reason and cause to her powers and abilities, how did Sonic get his? Am I treading too close to Lost Hedgehog Tales territory, or potentially spoiling an upcoming IDW arc that will explain the mysteries behind Sonic's go-fastiness?
I don't know if there was ever an intention before me to explain away Sonic's speed, but I don't. I don't feel like it's necessary. It's just who he is. Is it a fantastic ability? Absolutely. Does he defy conventions and perform feats that no normal hedgehog can? Yeah. Does that need an explanation? No. It's one of those things like trying to explain the physics of Lord of the Rings. Don't do it. Don't be hard. Don't apply a hard magic system to this. Sonic is fast, and that's just who he is. Part of me rails against that because I want to know everything about the world. I want to have all my T's crossed and I's dotted, but Sonic is almost like a force of nature. He's a very simple individual. So keeping that simplicity to he's just fast because he just is, I feel is fitting.
You mean to tell me he wasn't a brown hedgehog that ran so fast he turned blue? And
Nope.
his greatest
At least not in
nemesis
this
was
continuity.
his greatest nemesis was originally a kindly doctor with the name Kintobor. And that's not canon. What the heck, man? How could you do this to me? Ruined my everything. I hate you now. I'm kidding. I don't hate you. At least not for that. Here's a question from OzJam H. A character type I always enjoy is comedic relief, as they provide some sort of ease of relief for both the audience and our characters in the story. One that comes to mind, more famously, is Mikey from the TMNT series, as I think without him, it wouldn't be the series we love today, even with the many different iterations. However, this got me thinking, what do you think of this character type in media, and when and how do you think a story uses this archetype the worst and the best in stories? I also like to know your favorites, if possible, from both of you guys. Don't shy away from your fate, Kyle. Bye.
Broadly speaking, the comic relief needs to be endearing. Because if you have someone who is goofy, but to the detriment of the story and the characters, they're going to be obnoxious. Mm-hmm. So for a very simple one-to-one comparison, and there's way more examples, but we're just doing this because this is off the top of my head. You got Mikey, who's a great example because he adds to the dynamic of the turtles. He is another facet of the family. His goofiness is used as a foil to the other disciplines of the other three and isn't necessarily just there to irk them or make them laugh. He's there to be the heart of the four of them. You know, he brings a dynamic to that system. And as you said, it brings levity to the overall narrative. Not to dredge up this dead horse and beat it again, but Jar Jar Binks in episode 1 is an example of how to do it poorly, because Jar Jar brings nothing to the narrative. He has no real rapport with any of the human characters. He has no particular reason to be among them, short of a hand-wavy excuse of a life debt. And all of his antics only serve to aggravate or endanger the other characters. There is no reason for him to be there. And his assistance in wrangling up the Gungans to fight off the droid army is more incidental. He could have been removed from the plot and Padme's efforts would have gone on fine without him.
Right.
So Jar Jar, his antics can be kind of funny in a void, you know, just by himself. Qui-Gon grabbing his tongue mid bowl eating thing. That was funny.
Yeah.
You know, him getting electrocuted in the engine and he's somewhere going, my face, I can't feel my face. That's kind of funny. But that's within those individual contexts, because what does it bring to everything else? He's just there. He could have been utilized far better, but that's a whole other discussion to be had. So I like the comedic characters who, even if they're background characters, they bring something to the table besides just the laughs. They do something for the characters or something for the story. And I am a sucker for the comedy relief who is also the stealth badass.
Yeah.
You know, when the chips are down and they're like, okay, it's time for me to stop being goofy, and they just whoop all sorts of ass. Gets me every time. I love it. And Mikey kind of falls into that category.
Yeah.
Depending on which iteration. So that's a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah, I like that one too. That's always fun. I also like the ones who are like stealth comedy relief. Like you don't necessarily realize until looking back on it that they are the comic relief, because they're kind of dry and flat, but they have that sort of stoic humor, I suppose would be one way of putting it. Mm-hmm. Where they're like, where they're more the straight man to everyone else's silliness, or they just have more of the personality type is more just blunt and straightforward rather than just being a goofy type character. And yeah, those are the kind of comic relief I enjoy. You know, sometimes that's pretty fun.
Another incarnation of the comedy relief character that you have to be careful with is the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Boom Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
the character who never catches a break, because sure, it's funny to see them on the receiving end for a while, but then it either becomes tired or you start to feel bad for them. And that brings down the rest of the cast, because why are they not supporting this poor goofy bloke who's just on the receiving end of karma 24/7?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they need to have a win, or they need to do something constructive, or they need to bring about their comeuppance on their own. They can't just be there to get kicked around all the time.
It's kind of like Sad AM Antoine is kind of stuck in that too.
Yeah.
That's it gets kind of sad eventually. It's like, come on. He could be a little more than that. Luckily we had the comics to offset that eventually.
Yeah.
It took a while, but
and the Three Stooges are like a masterclass in this, because sure, they are always on the receiving end, but usually it's from their own stupidity or their own arrogance or their own temper. They bring it upon themselves more often than not.
Right.
So, you know, you're either laughing at their foibles or you're laughing at the odd chance where they get, you know, beamed upside the head, or that time Curly's the plumber and he keeps adding pipes to stop the leak, and he finally stops the leak and he dusts his hands off and realizes he's caged himself in pipes.
Oh, man. That stuff still holds up sometimes, you know? It's kind of amazing.
I'm thinking of it now and I'm cracking up.
I know. It's very funny. It's kind of amazing.
Just that self-certified.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Timeless. I don't know how they did it, but man, it's so much good stuff there. All right. We ready to move on?
Yep.
All right. Here's a question from Arcfighter. While the end result is we'd all lose, who do you think would win in a fight? The Omniversal Void Determina or the Omnitemporal Solaris?
Kind of hard to draw parallels with the power levels here, but
is this the unstoppable force meets the unmovable object sort of thing?
No, it's different categories of elder god.
Yeah, true.
Void Termina is like, I guess they are both universal erasure beings, and Void Termina lost to Kirby and his buddies with no special powers aside from the power of friendship.
That's a strong Solaris power.
It is. Whereas Solaris had to be taken down by 3 super hedgehogs. But Kirby alone is kind of broken in terms of power scaling.
Yeah.
Like, what's to say he wouldn't just inhale supersonic? And
become supersonic Kirby? Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of hard to say which one is more powerful going off of what it took to take them down.
Wasn't Solaris destroying
presentation?
Wasn't Solaris destroying multiple timelines and dimensions while Void Termina was only doing one? So,
but would he have stopped at one?
Good point.
I would almost argue it's comparable. It might be 1-to-1.
So I was right then.
Solaris might have a little more in terms of ranged attacks, maybe, but I don't know. We might just get a kind of cataclysmic cosmic reset on that one.
Yeah.
Or just Super Kirby.
I'm down. When is the Sonic Kirby crossover going to happen?
Oh, man.
That would be pretty wild. That would be so weird. I'm here for it. Here's a question from Ann Tails. In prior episodes of BumbleKast, you've indicated that you were interested in potentially pitching a Metarex arc for the IDW Sonic series, but you have also raised some critiques with how the Metarex were depicted in Sonic X, discussing how their leaders were tropey and arguing that their designs didn't really fit the Sonic universe. If you do end up pitching the Metarex arc, how would you propose tweaking the Metarex to align with the Sonic aesthetic and fit the overall IDW Sonic narrative? And if you did change the Metarex, would you still keep Cosmo the same? Personally, I think Cosmo's perfect the way she is, and I don't think she needs any major changes to fit the IDW story, but as a big Cosmo fan and Tailsmo enjoyer, I'm a bit biased.
It's one thing to say, this is how I would pitch it, and another thing to, actually do so and see what the feedback would be. Personally, I would like to see an overhaul of the Metarex design, something that would keep them at least identifiable to fans of the third season of Sonic X, but just something that looks more like a Sonic design, something a little more simplified, something a little more, I don't know, realistically proportioned insofar as, what was the yellow fellow's name? Regardless, that big old lizard guy would not have fit into the torso of that armor. I don't care. It was visually incongruent. And that kind of goes for all of them. They look like spindly robot things, but they're supposed to have the aliens inside them. Just, it bugs me. And I feel like that they would need a more proper introduction and utilization rather than here's like a couple of episodes where they're the big bad and they're beaten and you never see them again. It's been a long time since I watched that season of Sonic X. Maybe I'm missing something, but I feel like they were just kind of there in presence and not any actual threat or any kind of well-defined threat. It was just kind of like, here they are, and we're going to tell you what their gimmick is, but not really illustrate it well, and now they're dead and gone. Oh, well. And for the entire arc itself, I really don't see the need for the planet seeds, especially since I feel like that got forgotten halfway through the season. The Metarex wanting to preserve their way of life and their species through the utilization of others, I think is a broad enough idea that it can be retooled into something more concise and focused and impactful. And to that end, I don't think Cosmo herself needs that big of a change. I don't want to throw everything out into public because who knows if this might actually see the light of day. But in terms of personality and character interactions and intentions, I see her being fairly one-to-one with Sonic X. Maybe not so completely in the dark about things, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Alrighty. I have nothing to add because I have not watched that far into Sonic X, so I know nothing. Maybe I'll get around to that eventually. And we got a question here from Andrew D. When asked if the IDW Classic Sonic comics were a part of the Classic Sonic video game series or a new Classic Sonic IDW comic series, you said that there's only one classic universe. Does that mean the Classic Sonic Archie comics like Mega Drive and Genesis as We Hear are also set in the same universe, or are they considered non-canon? It's interesting to see the various Classic Sonic media, such as the games, animations, IDW comics, and Archie comics, all being canon to each other. Or am I misunderstanding? Does this also open the door to all the various classic Sonic manga too? What about any modern comics or manga like the Sonic Channel manga?
I want you to think about your question here. You were asking about IDW Classic in relationship to the classic games. Why would that include Archie Sonic, which can't be included in anything anymore? Why would that include all the old manga, which is not relevant to the conversation? Why would it include anything else outside of that? You were asking about classic IDW Sonic and the classic games. That's it. That's all you need to worry about. Don't worry about it. Don't try to fold every piece of Sonic media into one giant multiverse singular timeline. If you want it to be part of your headcanon, okay.
Thanks, Aaron Weber, for saying everything is canon and for making this a continuing problem. A decade later, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's not actually. A problem is a strong word. I know.
It's a problem when you take it as absolute black and white literal.
Yeah. There's no nuance in there, Weber. Come on. You knew what was going to happen. You did this. He did that on purpose. He knows.
The madman, he probably did.
He knows what he was doing. He knows he was ruining it for everyone else for the rest of time by doing that. How dare he? He knew it. Oh boy, that boy Weber, he ain't right. Alphabana Oriyukin has a question. Suppose you had a chance to introduce Belle into the Archie universe. How would you have handled her character then? Would she be a standard Mobian or maybe a rogue infiltrator bot?
I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, I feel kind of weird even speculating because it's kind of Evan's creation. How would you take somebody else's creation and do it? But I guess we've kind of covered questions like that in the past.
I mean, every time we bring in like a crossover, how would you put in this character into Sonic's world?
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
I know it's weird because you know her personally, you're working with her, and this is it feels slightly different, but
and it's so new.
That too, yeah.
Here's the thing: like Belle's whole pathos is built around her being Mr. Tinker's daughter / creation, and Mr. Tinker just didn't exist in Archie Sonic. I mean, if you wanted to roll the clock back far enough and say she was a pet project by Julian Kinterbor before the turnover, but he was a scumbag back then anyway, unless he did it as like a smokescreen to show how jovial and family friendly he was. Haha, I'm perfectly acceptable, except I'm also warlord of your entire army. How does that work? Nah, no. That doesn't sync. That doesn't work. I don't know. I honestly don't know where she would fit without completely overhauling her entire creation and purpose, which at that point is not Belle anymore. I don't know if she could be retroactively transplanted.
In some form, maybe, but you'd have to probably considerably change her backstory and everything to even make her fit.
And at that point, it's just a new character, so...
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. What I do know is we are at the final question for this week's priority Q&A, and it comes to us courtesy of Godzilla. Who has the better burning form? Burning Blaze or Burning Godzilla? Toho or Legendary? Take your pick.
Burning Blaze is awesome. Toho's Burning Godzilla is awesome.
Yes.
Legendary's Burning Godzilla was trash. What a waste of a legacy idea.
Yeah.
Just, like, I wasn't impressed with the movie in general, but that literally made me mad. Here, we're going to write out one of the greatest actors the human race has ever produced.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes out like a boss, but regardless.
I know.
We're going to introduce this question of, is Godzilla going to die to this incredible power that he can't control? Oh, no, he can control it.
Are they going to kill Godzilla in the movie where his name is on the title and we know they're going to come up with multiple sequels to this?
At least with Toho, it was kind of it was like an illness.
Yeah.
You could see the struggle. You could see the pain. And it was part of a process of rebirth.
Right. Yeah.
It was all structured to the story. This was, hey, remember Godzilla was red and glowy and went boom? Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
We're not going to show you the monsters for most of the movie, but here's the one shot where you can see them in the dark. Just, God, that was such a bad Godzilla movie. And my brother and I will fight about this till the end of time. He loved it, but no, it was trash. You wasted King Ghidorah. You wasted Burning Godzilla. You gave Mothra a stinger. No. Nope. Other two, great. Fantastic. Love them. But, oh, man. Legendary Burning Godzilla was just...
I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah, it looked cool. Sure, great.
That's about it. Yeah, as I say, if you go based on visuals alone, Toho or Legendary Burning Godzilla at least looks pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. I am not going to end on a negative note. What I'm going to do is end on a positive note with thanking all the wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members for supporting this show. Big thank you to Daniel H., Alex P., James K., John B., Jennifer R., Robotnik Holmes, Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, Mike B., Dave M., Coupling Crew 128, Do As Diz Din, Andrew D., Salute Your Cat, Jay Frost, Hero of Light 13, Scruffy Matt, Chris A., Ryan D., Sonny, John M., Nani, Jib, Don B., Yami M., Lee H.K., Lisa M., Fiona M., Chevelle, Invade Turbo Tunis, Ben W., Blue Title Gamer, Tick Tick, Keeper of Monsters, Xanderoni the Painter, Axis, Final Neil, Jonathan D., Scurvy Pirate Hog, Nimric, Solaris Stain, The Name is X, Godzilla, Dabbler the Dalek, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, Daniel B., Ava Arctic, Pedantic Cat, Dove, Red the Supernamic, Quagglegale, Chad, Professor Rye, Cameron H., Jennifer H., Arc Fighter, Les, Nondel, Sapphire Scarletta, Jack the Animator, Preston M., Alphamon or Yukon, Noah S., Kojiro Highwind, Alex GS, Supersonic Fan, Awesome Cakester, Radry, Chase L, Finest Cacophony, Red W, Knights Jubal, Just a Mountain Soul, Callum Q, Jolene B, Joshua S, Megawatt, Ty H, Maddie H, John the Real Waluigi, M Tails, Triplets Born, The Throne Awaits, KJB, N Zephyr, DeRusival, Owen BD, Dapper Shinks, The Marble Gardener, T Ranger, For Sonic Fan, Lewis J, Lemur Chicken, Agent Kaz, Starlight Sec, Wild 48, Navari, Exidel, Michael P, Ty Cyan, Rhythm Raccoon, Miles the Prower, Fenris Asger, Pap, Delta God 77, Miggy Sawdust, Pig Dan 20, Jinx, Jamal S, Lacey M, Unlikely Veronica, Cosmic Cooking Hunter 77, Oz Jam, Shimmy M, Angela V, Phi, Spiral Warrior, Thievius, Smiley 21, Bowser Studio, Fang the Werehog, The Flower Garden, Sammy S, King Toasty, Tetsu Knife, The Might of Gabora, Steph Cube, Speedweed, Saturn Flicky, Mobius, Damien the Hedgehog, Chaos Sonic 1, Ryoku Shion, Zoom, Phelps G, Metamode, Danny the Light, Frost the White Lion, Agnes S, and Wheels 282 Hedgehog.
Look at all those incredible names. Look at them. Enjoy them. Go.
Savor them.
Yes. Listen to that again. I mean, I'll play it back again right now. I won't.
Don't you dare.
It'd be funny if I did.
That's going to wrap us up for this episode of the BumbleKast. We'll see you Friday for the standard Q&A, and then join us Saturday right here on YouTube at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the live Q&A session. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Catch you on Friday. It's writing Kyle. Ian's been hired to write. Yeah, it's Ian's writing my script for the BumbleKast. That's what it is. I probably need one. Who has the better burning form? Burning Blaze or Burning Godzilla? Toho or Legendary? Take your pick.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay. This question scared him away. Who scared him?
And we're back with more priority Q&A here on the BumbleKast.
Hi, I'm Kyle.
We already did the intros, Kyle. We're going to the questions now.
We did?
Yes, this is the Wednesday pickup.
Oh. Sorry. I keep forgetting. We're already halfway through the episode when we pick up on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm a smarty.
We're already halfway through an episode, man. We're ready to roll.
I'm all smarty. I'm a smarty. Anyway.
So that's going to be after credits and
maybe
in 3, 2, 1.
I'm already home.
Are you? The lights are on. Are you home?
No. Mentally, no. I'm sitting here at the top of the show notes waiting, like, it's gonna start. What's going on? Okay. All right, I'm ready. I'm here for real this time. Okay.
No more giggles.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. What about Classic Boom? What about this? What about that? Thanks, Aaron Weber.
Was there classic manga on the website? I thought it was only modern stuff.
On Sonic Channel? I thought it was only modern. Yeah, what about classic movie Sonic?
No. All right, let's get on to the Friday episode.
What about classic Needle Mouse?
What about bacon?
Bacon. Delicious hedgehog bacon.
Can we eat hedgehog? Is there any like
Probably.
actual viable meat on that thing?
Probably. I mean, there's viable meat on guinea pigs. Well,
Really?
cavies, not domesticated guinea pigs, but yeah, same
Huh.
thing. There's enough meat on rabbits. You can eat those too.
Well, yeah, but we're talking like actual farmed rabbits, like real eating rabbits. I'm not talking like pet store bunnies.
No, I suppose. I guess.
That and I don't know. Rabbit takes so long to make, and if you don't make it right, it's just kind of there
Yeah, that's true.
for the price and the effort. You just get a chicken. And this is saying as someone who freaking loves rabbit when it's done right.
Yeah. It's hard to get right. And I'm being asked in the chat, what did Cream do to me? It's not my fault. She has tasty meat inside of her. That's her own fault. I couldn't phrase that any other way, guys. I was trying to think of another way and I can't. So, yeah. Here we are.